Hey everyone, today is day 5 in my series on using dewormers correctly in goats. I'm talking about Levamisole today, which is also sold under the trade names Prohibit or Levamed. And this is my least favorite dewormer. I have only used it once in the 22 years I own goats. It was back 15 to 20 years ago when we had complete dewormer resistance to all of the other dewormers on the market. And it is known as the strongest dewormer. And if you get to the point where this is the only thing that works on your farm, then you really, really need to work on your management, because otherwise it's not going to keep working forever and you will have dead goats. So ideally, you should never, ever have to use this. Now, there are 2 reasons why you don't want to use it. One of them is because it's the strongest. So once you get to it, you're really in deep trouble already. And the other reason you don't want to use it is because this has the smallest margin of safety. So all of the other dewormers are used at 2 times the sheep dosage. This one is used at 1.5 times the sheep dosage. And it has the smallest margin of safety, which means you really cannot make a mistake. And I don't recommend trying to do the math on that, because unless math is numbers, if numbers are really, really like your very best friends and you are a math nerd who never makes math mistakes, this just gets very tricky. So I really recommend that you use the instructions on the form or the chart that was created by the American Consortium for Small Ruminant Parasite Control. If you have been here for the other 4 days, you've seen this already. You know that the current 2021 chart has the logo on it. Older versions do not. And so to use Levamisole, which is sold under the name Prohibit in the United States, or also Levamed, like here's a couple. It's sold in a packet, and it's a powder. So this is why I call the third, I call the third category of dewormers the solid dewormers, because, excuse me, Levamisole is sold as a powder, and you have to mix it with water to use it. And then it's only good for 90 days. You have to pitch it after that. And another one is Levamed, which is, it's the same drug. It's the same concentration and everything. It's just a different name. And I really recommend that you just use the instructions on the consortium's website. Because even knowing the answers, I had to do the math multiple times to go from like, okay, what's 1.5 times the sheep dosage? I had to do the math multiple times to get it to match up with what was on here. And it's just really tricky. One of the problems is that different websites give you different ways to mix it. Some of them will say, mix this packet in a gallon of water. Some will tell you to mix it in a quart of water. There's one I found that said mix it into 17.5 ounces of water. Oh my gosh, could we make this any more complicated than asking you to mix it into 17.5? Like, who's got a measuring cup that tells you what 17.5 ounces is? And this is, like I said, this is like a drug that has a very low margin of safety. So you do not want to mess with this. A parasite researcher told me that he knew someone who killed multiple sheep. What he gave them was only 4 times the labeled dosage. And several of them wound up dead, and the others were in really bad shape for a while. So you do not want to make mistakes with this. And this is why you also want to just be really good and nail down your management so that you don't need dewormers, so that you don't wind up with resistance to the other dewormers and have to resort to this. Prohibit is, so you see the information here. It says the solution is prepared by dissolving a 52-gram packet in 1 quart of water. If you are dosing kids, they suggest that you double that, you dilute it even further. dilute it in 2 quarts of water, because then you've got a little bit more wiggle room if you mess up on the dosage. So now if you did that, if you diluted it in 2 quarts of water instead of 1 quart of water, then you would need to use twice as much as what it says on here. So let's assume that you have dissolved the packet of powder in a quart of water. If you have a 75-pound goat, then you would give them 8.2 cc's of Levamisole. If you made it a weaker concentration, and you mix that packet into 2 quarts of water, then you would have to give 16.4 ounces. But again, they're only suggesting you do that if you've got kids. So that would be down here, because like, you know, the difference between a 20 and a 25-pound kid is 2.2 cc's for a 20-pound kid, 2.7 cc's for a 25-pound. So there's a lot less wiggle room here. So you can accidentally overdose. You can accidentally overdose if you've got these smaller amounts that you are giving. And then to get this, you can get it from my website. It is in this podcast where I interviewed Dr. Posado, who was the person who created that updated version of the chart. And go here and you can download it right there. Has dewormer usage chart. That's a link. You can see it's kind of purple and there's a line under it. So I hope this has been helpful for you. And I also hope that you never need to use Levamisole. If you've got any questions, feel free to post in the comments section below. Bye for now.